Hello and thanks for joining me again for the video of the Knight of Wands. So we're kicking off the court card series here with probably the most active of the court cards, which is the Knight of Wands here. As we can see, lots of energy with the horse, lots of flames in the background, so something that we would expect because the associated elements of this card are fire and fire, so we've got a double dose of fire. The Knight in the Rider-Waite deck is rather more tame looking and looks like that. A little bit of red coming off his armour there, but not a great deal of action in there compared to the Thoth card. So with all of these court cards, as I mentioned, they're made up of, each one is made up of 3 of the minor Arcana cards. So in some ways it's a good thing that I've done the minor Arcana first. So we've got the building blocks for the court cards, and that's what gives them their complexity. So the 3 minor Arcana cards that are associated with the Knight of Wands are the 7 of Cups, which is debauch, and this is more of its weakness, because as I say, the court cards are basically personalities. They're not just one quality. As you know, with people we've got a multitude of qualities. Looking at the more positive aspects of the Knight of Wands, we've got the 8 of Wands there, Mercury in Sagittarius, again a lot of action in that card, and we have the 9 of Wands, and these 3 cards rule each of the deckhands that the Knight of Wands rules. So we'll have a look at the layers of rulership in the next section. The final bit that's probably worth mentioning is the 2 of Wands here, and it does have an association with the Knight because they both share the same Sephiroth, which is Hokmar, which is all to do about energy and going forth and the force emanating from Keta at the top of the Tree of Life. I do have, just to show you, a quartz crystalline version of the Doges and the 2 of Wands, which again is associated with the 2 of Wands, associated with, it's Mars and Aries, so it's very active and it's going out into the world and establishing yourself, making your domain, making your home, and it's all about feeling secure in yourself as well. So again, with the associated Sephiroth, there's a lot of activity in the 2 cards, and as I put them both together you can see the red of fire, which links the 2 together quite nicely. Okay, we'll go on to the next section and break the qualities of this card down, and then finally have a look at how it plays out in a Celtic cross spread. Okay, we'll just start this section with looking at the associated deckhands with the Knight of Wands. So here on the top here, if we replace this word king with knight, same thing. We've got the 7 of Cups, which is the last deck on the Scorpio, which is the weaker side of the Knight of Wands, and that's the only water element to the card. We've got the 1st and 2nd deckhands of Sagittarius, and both of these are in the fire sign. So we've got 2/3 fire, 1/3 water in terms of the minor Arcana cards. In terms of the classification, we've got fire over fire, so lots and lots of fire there, with a small element of water. And it's these 3 cards, the minor Arcana cards, that make up the King of Wands. So with all that fire in mind, looking at the card here, we've got a very fiery looking card. The Knight of Wands, the horse there, is very slim, lots of energy, very active. It's one of those horses that you're not quite sure whether you can control it, and that represents the energy of the Knight of Wands. are we ever really in control of this energy, or do we just have to point our life generally, hopefully, in the right direction and hope that we get there? So, another interesting thing I found is that this card is also associated with Hercules, and we've got the club there. Hercules is part of the constellation that the Knight of Wands rules, between 20 degrees Scorpio and 20 degrees Sagittarius. We've got this sense of a club there, and in the card itself we've got a club here, which is the Ace of Wands, or Ace of Wands like. And this is the Ace of Wands, just to remind you, we have been through it, and we've got all the yods here coming from the Ace of Wands, and again that leads us nicely into the next diagram, the tetragrammaton, and the Knights are associated with yod here, this, which is the father. It's the seed that goes forth into creation, into the receptive mother, and then we've got this son and daughter that come from the father and the mother. So we'll go on to the symbology of the card. A few things to note. We've got the horse on the crest there, and we've got a little crest on the saddle. The club itself points to the groin, which again is associated with the yod and the seed there, and again we've got the flames, the cloak, so that this is like a cloak of flame, so again it represents his energy. Again, the way he's just holding this horse there, again he's trying to sort of hang on. So again, this energy here is something which can be somewhat uncomfortable. So this does represent the type of energy that we're associating ourselves with when this card comes up in a reading. So the next section to look through would be the three minor arcana cards, and one was the Seven of Cups, which is debauch. Now this is associated with wasteful activity, whether it's drink or drugs or something like that, or just a wasteful lifestyle and lots of energy or money or time or emotion going into it. The cups are always associated with emotion, and this is the weakness of the Knight of Wands. If he doesn't have a proper goal, then his energy can go into the wrong things. And we relate this back to the Nine of Wands, which you'll see in a minute. Next card was the Eight of Wands, and again we've got this sense of energy just going in all directions, which you can't really fully control. Again, this is Mercury in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is such a flighty, active sign. Nine of Wands sort of stumped me first as to why this is associated with the Knight of Wands, and it's really the lunar influence here, the emotional thing. And it's all to do with, are we following something which is nurturing us? Again, I said I'd relate that back to the Seven of Cups. So if we don't get this sense that we're being fully nurtured, we can end up doing things which are very unproductive for us and for others. So we'll go on to the I Ching. Mr. Crowley does associate the I Ching, a hexagram, which is 6 lines here, 2 trigrams joined. So trigram is 3 lines here, the first 3, and then on top of that you have another trigram. And as you can see, these are both a reflection of one another, and there's a name for each trigram, and we've got 2 trigrams which are identical, and the name for the trigram is thunder. So we've got thunder over thunder. The solid lines here are the yang lines, and the split lines are the yin. So for each trigram you've got a yang line under 2 yin lines, and you've got a yang line under 2 yin. This translates to the meaning of the card in the sense that the yang, the energy, pushes through the yins. So we've got to, like, there is something holding us back. The yins can represent the fear, because this card, this hexagram is associated with facing our fears. So it could be our fears that are holding us back, and it's a sense of being able to push through, using that yang energy to push through either fears or inertia. But it's again this movement forward, which relates very much to the movement of the knight there. So finally we look at the Celtic cross. Now in my notes on my website I've gone through each position in turn. I won't do that here because it can get quite repetitive. But these are just a couple of interpretations of mine. For instance, if the Knight of Wands appears in position 1, the heart of the matter, or I must say that again, these, for a Celtic cross, these positions, the meanings of these positions can vary. And I think it's just a case of finding something that works for you, and these particular ones do actually work for me. I find them very useful. So number 1, heart of the matter. If you get the Knight of Wands there, it could be a situation that needs immediate action, but we've got to be careful not to rush things. But there's something there that we have to use our energy and put our energy into something quite quickly. Number 2, challenges to the issue or obstacles. It could be that we've not thought things through, impulsions, not set our goals, energy not being channeled in the right direction, that sort of thing. Future, again, more assertion needed, moving on to our goals more quickly, but not letting situations like get out of hand through rushing. How others can see us, impetuous, active, short-tempered, but very generous, and can be very nurturing. Knight of Wands appears in the 9th position, guidance and warning. Need to plan more before acting and think things through. Need to have a virtuous goal in life. So again, that comes down to 9 of Wands was actually very important in terms of it underpinned the sense of having ourselves fulfilled, which is not often brought up in association with this card. So I think I'll end there because that's more than enough. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, got something out of it. Full notes are on my website, and there is some links down below that you might find useful. Alright, take care of yourselves and hopefully see you again.